This is the story of how a billion-dollar Formula One dream team completely fell apart in front of the world during the very first testing week of 2026. Aston Martin officially revealed the AMR 26 on February 9, 2026, under the dazzling lights of the Ithra Cultural Center in Saudi Arabia. Lawrence Stroll poured massive financial resources into this exact moment, and the resulting machine sat gleaming on stage with a brand-new satin finish replacing the traditional metallic green. Engineers fitted a noticeably darker airbox alongside a striking light blue rear wing, signaling a complete visual and aerodynamic departure from their previous design philosophy. Fernando Alonso returns for his record-extending 23rd season, pairing again with Lance Stroll, who enters his 10th year driving at the highest level of motorsport. That meant expectations soared higher than ever before inside the Silverstone paddock. The entire factory spent the last 2 years obsessing over the radical 2026 regulation changes, throwing away absolutely everything from their previous campaign. Exactly 0 components carried over from the older chassis, leaving the mechanics to painstakingly assemble exactly 14,982 entirely new parts over the short winter break. The pressure is absolute, meaning the stakes reached catastrophic levels before the car even touched the actual tarmac. Reserve drivers Stoffel Van Dorn and American prospect Jack Crawford currently stand by, watching a situation that rapidly deteriorated from a highly anticipated launch event into a chaotic scramble for basic survival. Fans bought into the immense preseason hype, assuming the green machines would challenge Ferrari and Red Bull at the very front of the grid immediately. The biggest shockwave hit the garage when management officially terminated their 16-year relationship with Mercedes-Benz. Aston Martin secured an exclusive works partnership with Honda for the 2026 campaign, completely altering their mechanical foundation. The Japanese manufacturer delivered their newly developed RA626H power unit to the British factory late last year, promising devastating straight-line speed. The raw numbers backing this engine change look absolutely terrifying on paper. Engineers integrated a massive electrical power boost generating exactly 470 brake horsepower, completely dwarfing the electrical output of previous generations. The gamble is massive, meaning the design team needed to package this monstrous new hybrid system alongside the newly mandated active aerodynamics components. The entire cooling layout required a radical redesign to prevent the heavy batteries from melting the carbon fiber bodywork during high-speed cornering. The floor and side pods feature aggressive new channels designed specifically for the Honda installation. Drivers now face the immense challenge of managing these complex energy recovery systems while simultaneously adjusting the front and rear wings on the fly. That is exactly why the team aggressively recruited the smartest minds in the business to tame this unruly machine. If you find this technical breakdown fascinating, hit the subscribe button right now. We track these massive engineering shifts and controversial racing stories every single week. Now, let us look at the unbelievable new leadership team. Management refused to settle for a mediocre technical department, executing the most aggressive hiring spree in recent motorsport history. The legendary Adrian Newey officially took control late in 2025, operating not just as the managing technical partner, but actually assuming the role of team principal. This marks the very first Aston Martin challenger directly sculpted by his famously brilliant aerodynamic vision. The AMR 26 carries his unmistakable design signatures, from the nose cone all the way to the diffuser. Expectations hit the roof, and that move alone sent pure panic through the rival factories across Europe. To manage the complex new Japanese engine partnership, the team recruited former Mercedes genius Andy Cowell as their chief strategy officer. He brings intimately detailed knowledge of how championship-winning power units operate under extreme pressure. The organization still needed a structural master to tie the chassis and engine together. Enrico Cardile defected directly from Ferrari to become the new chief technical officer, finalizing an absolute dream team of engineers. Exactly 3 of the most brilliant minds in racing currently sit at the Silverstone pit wall, commanding a budget that rivals small nations. All of those brilliant minds watched helplessly as their grand vision caught fire on the actual racetrack. Preseason testing kicked off in Barcelona and Bahrain during February 2026, instantly exposing catastrophic flaws within the green machine. The newly integrated Honda power unit suffered severe and repeated battery failures right out of the garage. Mechanics spent hours frantically ripping the bodywork apart, while Fernando Alonso stood entirely motionless by the pit wall, staring angrily at the data screens. The garage fell silent, and the total mileage statistics tell a truly horrifying story for the British outfit. Top rivals like Ferrari and Mercedes ruthlessly logged over 1,000 combined laps during the winter sessions. Aston Martin barely scraped together a pathetic 400 circuits before the engines completely shut down. The result shocked everyone, meaning their expensive simulation data remains completely unverified by actual track running. Plumes of white smoke billowed from the rear of the car twice during the Bahrain afternoon session, triggering red flags across the entire circuit. The mechanical breakdowns completely ruined their aerodynamic evaluation programs, leaving the drivers entirely blind heading into the opening race weekend. The terrifying reliability issues immediately sparked dark comparisons among veteran mechanics in the paddock. Pundits openly wonder if history is viciously repeating itself for the Spanish world champion. Back in 2015, Alonso endured a famously miserable campaign driving the horribly unreliable McLaren Honda, frequently breaking down in front of packed grandstands. The current situation looks uncomfortably similar to that disastrous era. The clock is ticking, and that places unimaginable pressure on Adrian Newey to perform a miracle fix before the freight ships leave for Australia. The team currently relies entirely on Andy Cowell to negotiate emergency software patches with the Japanese engineers stationed in Sakura. As the engineers scramble, the Silverstone factory is currently operating 24 hours a day, desperately manufacturing reinforced cooling components to prevent the batteries from overheating again. 4 highly modified floor designs sit waiting in the manufacturing bay right now. The mechanics look completely exhausted, running entirely on empty coffee cups and pure adrenaline as the countdown clock ticks closer to 0. They built an absolute rocket ship on paper, but the reality proves an incredibly fragile glass cannon that shatters under high racing loads. The immediate future of the Aston Martin project currently hangs by a very thin thread. If the engineers fail to resolve the severe Honda battery overheating issues, the team faces a humiliating start to the 2026 championship campaign. Fernando Alonso will not tolerate running at the back of the grid, and his famous temper could easily fracture the delicate harmony within the garage. A slow start would completely ruin the massive momentum generated by the corporate restructuring and the brilliant Adrian Newey acquisition. Failure is not tolerated, so rivals will ruthlessly exploit any early weakness, easily outscoring the green cars while they desperately troubleshoot their hybrid systems during live race sessions. That creates a massive financial penalty regarding the constructor standings payout at the end of the year. The long-term trajectory depends entirely on how quickly Enrico Cardile and his technical department can push structural upgrades through the factory pipeline. They possess the finest manufacturing campus in the entire sport, boasting a state-of-the-art wind tunnel that just came online late last year. They have absolutely zero excuses for a prolonged period of failure. The engineers must completely rewrite the engine mapping software over the next 2 weeks to protect the fragile electrical components from self-destructing. Exactly $42 million in sponsor bonuses ride on their opening performance. If they succeed, the AMR 26 will undoubtedly fight for regular podiums by the European leg of the calendar. But if they fail, Lawrence Stroll will demand immediate and brutal accountability from his highly paid management structure. Whether Adrian Newey miraculously rescues this failing Honda partnership or the entire billion-dollar project completely implodes, we are watching Formula One history unfold right now. If you enjoyed this analysis into the Aston Martin crisis, subscribe for more daily racing breakdowns.